What is that sound that always fills my ears? Is it the sound of the rain, the sound of the waterfall, or could it be radio static? If not, I want it to be the sound of blood flowing through my body. I want it to be the sound of the blood circulating throughout me, telling me that I'm still alive.
Asa nanoka?
The light entering through the crack of the curtain was faint, but it at least told him that dawn had broken. Kinzo, still in the position that he was when he woke up, sitting in a chair looking at the ceiling, felt the blood slowly travel throughout his body. Judging by the clock, it was early morning, 6 on the dot. No matter how tired he was, no matter how deeply he slept, he always woke up at exactly this time, as though he had measured it with an hourglass. He didn't think of it as something to boast about, but he told himself that, as long as he could manage this, his health couldn't be that bad.
朝を迎えたということは、どうやら最初の生贄は逃れたということらしい。ルーレットの目が幸運だったのか、我が努力の賜物なのか。区別のつかぬところが何とももどかしいが、それは言うまい。
Kinjo was struck by a faint desire to see beyond the study door. After all, he might find the traces of someone's vain struggle to break through the door. A sign that someone had tried to select him as one of the first 6 sacrifices.
人間とは安っぽい生き物だな。人事を尽くして天命を待ちながら幸運を得られた時にはそれが単なる幸運ではなく己の技量によるものだったとうぬぼれたくもなる。
That was why he wanted to check whether there was a wretched mark on the door. The very desire was human. And that is why Kinzo did not check. He often rejected desires that came to him because he was human. By doing that, he could be immersed in the feeling of sufficiency, as though he himself had become a being that surpassed humans. He recognized human desires for what they were, and guarded against them. Things that a human would want to do, he resisted. His eccentricity and rebellious nature had surely given him a rare genius, making it possible for him to succeed in his exploits as he revived the Ushinomiya family in a single generation.
さて、ベアトリーチェ。お前が取った6つの駒は何なのか。そして次なる手はどう来るのか。楽しませてもらうぞ。私の守りは完璧だ。前回のような無様はさらさぬぞ。
The servants spoke early. They had yet to open the curtains, prepare breakfast, and complete various other tasks to welcome the guests to a new day. Goda was the most enthusiastic. During the family conference, he had been told to concentrate his efforts especially on cooking, and he had been specially exempted from several tasks that servants normally must do. Goda, who was a show-off, seemed to be feeling particularly superior because of that. He let Genji and the rest prepare the rest of the mansion, and worked on making breakfast in the kitchen. Genji split the work of Shannon and Cannon, and carried out various tasks. Shannon headed to the dining hall and knocked. Last year, the family conference had continued into the early hours of the morning. It wouldn't have been odd if this year's conference had done the same. Considering the possibility that they were still having a discussion inside, she knocked. But there was no response, so she opened the door and said good morning. The room was cold, and the conference seemed to have ended a long time ago. There was a tea set on the table from where they'd probably been drinking, arranged in a way that would make it easy to clean up. Cleaning up tea was a servant's job. If the family members were extra generous in cleaning it up themselves, the servants would lose face. So it was truly a pleasant act of kindness for the family to do only this much. She approached the table to clean it and noticed something like a memo that had been left near the utensils and cups. Since it was right next to the tea set, Shannon picked it up, naturally thinking it was a memo for the servant doing the cleaning. Written there was not a request, nor was it thanks for preparing the tea. There was just a single word. Shannon looked at it blankly and read it out loud. A small sound kept repeating over and over. Normally that sound would have been too trivial to be worth caring about. If only I could stop hearing it soon, I could go back to sleep right away, she thought vaguely. But no matter how much time passed, the sound didn't end. It repeated over and over. Ah, shut up! Who is it? Banging on the door this whole time? As soon as she realized that, she woke up. Someone was knocking. Then she noticed that it wasn't just a knock, but a voice as well.
Rosa-sama. Rosa-sama. Ohayou gozaimasu.
待って。今行きます。
It had been Genji's voice. Looking at the clock, it wasn't even 7 yet. It was clearly too early to wake the guests. Did something happen that was bad enough to cause this? She felt her sleepiness increasingly fade thanks to the premonition of fortune. Though Genji was a servant, Rosa had known him since her childhood days, so even though she was slightly defenseless in her pajamas, she opened the door a crack and answered.
おはようございます。早朝から申し訳ございません。
何かあったの？
はい。実は礼拝堂に。
Genji whispered something into Rosa's ear. For a second, it seemed Rosa couldn't understand what she had been told. After having it repeated several times, she realized that apparently something strange had happened. Rosa closed the door for a second, changed her clothes quickly, and followed Genji towards the mansion. The chapel requires some explanation. It wasn't in the mansion, but in a grove behind it, a short walk's distance away. It had been built at the same time as the mansion. So though its walls had been repaired many times, making it look new from the outside, it was a very old building. Rosa dashed through the rain along with Genji. Just like the previous night, the rain was falling in earnest. Eventually the chapel came to sight from beyond the thin grove. Just looking at it from outside, it seemed a place of dazzling beauty, where a pair of young lovers might want to get married. However, Kinzo apparently viewed it as a very sacred place, so Rosa and her siblings have been given strict instructions not to approach it unnecessarily. Even though they are all grown up now, approaching the chapel for any reason would still make them feel guilty. And also afraid, as if their father might get angry and hit them in the face. The servant silhouettes could be seen in front of the chapel's entrance. Goda, Shannon, and Cannon, which meant that all the servants in the morning shift had gathered. A short while ago, Genji had spoken to Rosa, telling her what the situation was. However, without laying eyes on it directly, she definitely hadn't been able to understand. It was probably the same for all the servants gathered here as well. Without seeing it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have been able to understand what was going on. On the door to the entrance to the chapel was something very large, drawn in a creepy, stringy paint that made one think of blood. Something like a creepy magic circle. The servants looked at each other. Goda was the first to open his mouth.
申し訳ございません。普段はここへは立ち入りませんもので、いつ書かれたのかはわかりません。
じゃあ最初に見つけたのは誰？はい、私です。食堂へお茶の道具の片付けに行きましたら、礼拝堂と書かれたメモがあったもので。
Shannon held out the memo with a shaking hand.
誰の字？兄さんや姉さんの字ではないわね。それであなたはここへ来てこれを見つけたのね。はい。
ローザ様、これを。
何？ハッピーハロウィン。フォー。
Cannon pointed out a single line of English written below the creepy magic circle. Until it had been pointed out to her, she thought it was just another part of the magic circle. There, the following words were written in English. Happy Halloween for Maria. Happy Halloween for Maria. This creepy magic circle was for Maria. Happy Halloween. Yesterday, only one person had said Happy Halloween to Maria. The key phrase matched. It was the Golden Witch Beatrice.
マリアはあの子いとこたちと一緒に寝てるはずよね。確認した。
申し訳ございません。マリア様のお名前が書かれていたことには今気づきましたもので、まだ確認しておりません。至急。
何やってんのよ。私はマリアの様子を見てきます。それからクラウス兄さんたちにも知らせて、以後の対応の指示を受けて。
After saying that much, Rosa finally knows something was odd. Her own rank in this family conference was the lowest of the 4 siblings. Why had she been the only one called during this abnormal situation like this when the other siblings hadn't been? Even if Maria's name had popped up.
まさか。
はい、旦那様にご連絡申し上げようとしたのですが、お姿が見当たらず。
奥様もお部屋におられません。シーツの様子からすると、昨べはベッドに戻られていないのかもしれません。
Rosa felt something creepy slowly crawling up her back.
礼拝堂の中確認。
いえ、まだです。確認しようとはしたのですが。
実は礼拝堂の鍵は特別でマスターキーに対応しておりません。1本だけある鍵でしか開けられないのですが、その鍵がキーボックスから紛失しているのです。
She didn't want to get closer to the door of the creepy magic circle if she could. Rosa righted herself and approached and tried pushing it and pulling the knob. All she felt was the resistance of a sturdy lock.
入れる窓などがないか探してはみたのですが、もし中を確認するのでしたら窓を破らなければならないかと思います。いかがいたしましょう。
そんな許可私に出せるわけがないわ。お父様の大切な礼拝堂なのよ。
At that time, the events of the previous day swirled around in the back of Rosa's mind. That's right. When I met that witch in the rose garden, didn't she hand Maria an envelope? Yeah, there's no mistake. She did hand it over. When Maria tried to open it, the witch told her not to do it yet, and then she surely said, "The time to open that will come soon." Rosa was sure. There could be no mistake. The envelope Maria had received was... After dashing back to the guest house, Rosa approached the cousin's room while hiding her footsteps. Softly opened the door and peered inside. From the inside, she could hear the healthy snores of typical young people. There were 4 children, and Maria was there, sleeping soundly. After breathing a sigh of relief, she entered the room with quiet footsteps. She was after Maria's handbag, which had been resting on the sofa. Maria always liked carrying her treasures around with her. She was probably emulating how her mother carried her makeup with her. Of course, she was just imitating her mother, so everything on the inside was junk. In Maria's case, it was full of small, creepy occult items, notebooks describing things of that nature, and so on. Rosa had never been happy to see her daughter walking around with things like that, which weren't girlish at all. However, trying to force Maria to stop had resulted in a big fight, so she decided to let it be. A western envelope with the crest of the gold eagle. When she took it out of the bag, she realized that there was a heavy, vaguely cylindrical object inside. She could tell by its feel and its weight. There was no doubt. This was a key. After turning around and checking that Maria was still sound asleep, Rosa tore open the envelope, and the contents spilled into her palm. It was a key of an old and intricate design. Rosa gripped that key and dashed out. Valor seemed to have noticed the sound, and after grumbling and turning over in his sleep, started snoring again.
源氏さん、この鍵、ひょっとして礼拝堂の鍵ということは。
これをどこで。はい、これが礼拝堂の鍵です。
Rosa approached the creepy magic circle once again and put the key in the keyhole. There was a strong resistance. After it resisted for a short while, it stopped resisting with a clunk. Then, squeaking with a noise that hurts one's ears, it slowly began to open.
誰かいるの？
Her voice reverberated throughout the massive room. Of course, there was no answer. The chapel had a high ceiling, and the air was cold. And even on this rainy, unsettling day, it felt sacred for some reason. The servants timidly followed after Rosa.
ローザ様、あれを。
Kind of noticed it immediately and pointed. Over there was the altar. In the place that would normally have a pastor preaching of God's love, there was a table that shouldn't have been there. At first it looked like a dining table. There actually were gorgeous plates and utensils placed there, making it look like a child's birthday party or something. Upon closer inspection, the surrounding area had been decorated with pumpkins and black and orange ribbons. They were probably Halloween decorations. There were people seated at the table. 3 people on each side facing each other, seated in chairs. They could be recognized at a glance. Kraus and his wife, Ava and her husband, and Rudolph and his wife. But if you wanted to be sure, you'd have to go even closer and check. Because they seemed almost like dolls. Rosa and the rest had opened the door, entered all at once, and with the sound of many footsteps, called out asking if anyone was there. And yet, there had been no reaction. Even if Rosa and the rest assumed they were being ignored, you'd still expect there to be some kind of reaction. And there hadn't been that. So at first it felt like someone had set down some dolls that greatly resembled those people. By now it wasn't just Rosa. Shannon and Cannon, and even Goda. They were all fighting frantically with the creepy emotion that grasped their hearts.
兄さん、Aさん。
As she walked towards the altar and called out again, there was still no reaction. Yes, by now, Rosa was sure of it. She was sure these weren't dolls, but the people themselves.
これは
They grew close enough to see clearly what lay on the table. It still looked like an adorable banquet, reminiscent of a child's birthday party. Plates piled up with sweets, cute pitchers with drinks, all kinds of pumpkin-shaped ornaments. They were all decorated in a Halloween style, and while this probably wasn't the time to be thinking about it, Maria surely would have been delighted to see all this. That was the state of the table they sat in front of, apparently asleep. It was an eerie scene, as though a small, fun-looking Halloween party had been stopped in time.
兄さんたち、寝てるの？
When she approached even closer to them, she realized that there were snacks scattered all over the floor. Candies, cookies, soda, and chocolates, all of heavily fantasy-themed packaging. They were all scattered across the carpet, covered with blackberry and cranberry jam. Rosa and the rest finally realized what the situation was. It was a Halloween party, a banquet for those of not of this world. Kraus, Natsuhi, Ava, Hideyoshi, Rudolph, and Kiria were seated in the chairs, apparently asleep, but all dead. How could you tell they were dead and not simply sleeping? That was because they had been vertically sliced open from their chests to their stomachs. The 6 of them had sat down at a Halloween party before having their stomachs split open, killing them. Then the jam covering the floor must not be what overflowed from their stomachs once they stuffed themselves completely, right? No. The contents of their stomachs had been scattered all over the floor. And that wasn't all. Out of their stomachs, it was almost as though they'd poured out. As though the snacks had overflowed from there. Candies and cookies, sodas and chocolates had poured out, stained with blood, and scattered across the floor. What else could have happened to cause this? It was almost as though their stomachs were stuffed full to bursting with sweets, and it all poured out of when their stomachs split open. Rosa remembered a certain shocking meal, a turkey that had been served at her own birthday. When it had been cut open with a knife, out flowed one of her favorite foods. But since she hadn't been told what it was inside, the deep, deep red ketchup omelet rice poured out like bloody maggots. Pulsing, dripping, slimy, pulpy, squelching. The trauma of her youth was revived. Rosa felt a monster raging inside her stomach as the acid started to rise. Unable to hold back, she threw it all up on the floor. Her empty stomach had nothing but stomach acid. The scene in front of her was no fun Halloween party now. The three couples were enshrined right there, their stomachs vertically wrenched open with a... So many snacks had been stuffed there, pulpy, squishy. Blood and guts and sweets were overflowing onto the floor. Bloodstained, sticky, sloppy, pulpy, sweet snacks that made your fingers stick together. Gummy. But strained with entrails, sloppy, pulpy. What was that I stepped on just now? It didn't feel like candy or a cookie or soda or chocolate. I'm scared. What did I step on? I can't even look at the bottom of my foot. What a gruesome Halloween party. From far away, it looked truly beautiful, fantastical, and fun. But from up close, it was horrible, disgusting, yet somehow beautiful. Rosa's wild thoughts tried as best they could to escape her throat, with a loud voice that was neither a scream nor a roar. If a word so tied to reality hadn't come out of Gota's mouth, Rosa and the rest probably would have found themselves unable to escape that nightmarish party even now. But it wasn't because they thought the police might be able to do something. If they didn't keep yelling about the police, it felt as though another seat might set up at the demon's party given to them. Their own chests felt like they were expanding unpleasantly from the inside, rumbling, churning, and it was surely because candy was about to overflow from their stomachs. Rosa, once again tortured by the desire to vomit, drew her stomach acid up on the floor. And then she searched to see if there was any candy in it. Rosa coughed violently again, forcefully spitting out the stomach acid that had been burning in her throat. She realized that by now, her whole body had been covered in a filthy sweat.
源氏さんとシャナンちゃんがお父様に連絡して指示を仰いでちょうだい。郷田さんはカノン君と一緒に行って警察に電話を。あと南條先生に来てもらう。
Why even bring Dr. Najo here? It was a bit too late for medical care. The servants accepted their orders and dashed outside. After watching them leave, Rosa once again stared at her siblings, with whom she'd spent good times and bad, and their partners. Though there could be nothing more tragic than this scene, for some reason she was tempted to describe these fantastical deaths as beautiful.
Iねえな。どこに行っちまったんだろうな。
使用人室も厨房も空っぽだぜ。一体どうしちまったってんだ。 返して
弱ったね。バトラ君、本当にローザおばさんだったのかい？
まあ俺も寝ぼけてたから自信はねえんだが、明け方にローザおばさんが入ってきてマリアの手提げカバンを漁ってるような気がしたんだよ。俺はてっきりマリアの手提げに歯磨きのチューブでも入ってるんじゃないかなんて思って寝ぼけてて。
なんで歯磨きのチューブがマリアの手提げに入ってるんだよ。寝ぼけて夢でも見たに決まってんぜ。
Rattler vaguely remembered Rosa entering the cousin's room. Also, when Maria woke up before the rest of them, she started rampaging around, saying that someone had opened the envelope that she had been keeping safe. Putting two and two together, they figured out Rosa must have probably came and opened the envelope.
黄金の魔女様の封筒か。中に何が入ってたんだろ
う。わからないね。でも、あの封筒はおじい様が新書に使う後宮家の家紋の入ったものだった。親族会議と無関係なものが入っていたとは考えがたいね。
She hadn't let anyone touch it, but yesterday, Maria had shown that envelope off to Battle and the rest of the whole lot. So they remembered it well.
ジョージの兄貴の言う通りなら相当重要なものらしいが、しかしそんな大事なものをどうして魔女様はマリアに渡したんだろうな。さっぱりだぜ。
Every once in a while, the refreshing morning atmosphere was completely wiped out by the sound of thunder. It was only natural. Since the moment they'd woken up, they hadn't met anyone else. It felt like only they were left, as if the mansion had become an empty husk. Jessica called down to the hallway, and eventually an answer came back. It came from the entrance hall.
聞こえますとも。何かありましたか？
南條先生だ。よかった。この島から僕たち以外が消えてしまったわけではないようだよ。
南條先生、おはようございます。すみませんが、うちの親たちとかどこに行ったか知りませんか？
はて、私も今起きてこちらに来たばかりですからな。わかりかねますが、さて。
It was only natural. Nanjo was a guest just like the rest of them. He'd come just now to pass the time in the parlor until breakfast. Maria buried her face in Nanjo's plump stomach, sobbing and crying. Nanjo could do nothing but be bewildered by this ruckus so early in the morning.
誰かかけてくるぜ。ジェシカ、誰か来るぞ。
From down the hall, they could sense people running hurriedly. They saw Goda and Cannon coming towards them. Normally, it would be disgraceful for a servant to run inside the mansion, and yet Battle and the rest didn't think to question that now. Maria's sobbing had become so unmanageable they wanted to ask someone, anyone, where Rosa was. But the two servants seemed to have bigger things on their mind than Jessica, who was waving at them. Goda flew into the servant room when Cannon noticed that Nanjo was there. He bowed and approached the doctor at a quick pace before whispering something into his ear.
何ですって？ローザさんが。
はい、ご案内いたしますので、どうかご同行お願いいたします。
わかりました。
こちらへ。
Without saying anything more than that, Cannon finally noticed Jessica and bowed to her. But he wasn't calm. He dashed back to the corridor which he'd come, followed by Nanjo. By looking at how hurried they were, Battle and the rest realized, yes, something really bad had happened. They saw Goda through the door in the servant room which had been flung open. He was holding a receiver and violently pressing the hook. From that, they realized he was trying to call a hospital or the police. In any event, he was trying to call someone because a serious emergency had occurred.
行ってみようぜ。
ママ、返して。マリアの手紙返して。それは黄金鏡への
They didn't know what, but something was happening. Battle and a rush chase after Ken and Nanjo. And then we realized Ken-kun had called Dr. Nanjo, but he hadn't called us. So we shouldn't have gone with them. I wonder if Alice regretted her excess curiosity when she chased after that rabbit holding a clock.
Damn! 入っちゃダメ見ちゃダメジェシカちゃんダメ
母さん父さん何があったの
なんだよこりゃ。趣味が悪いにも程があるじゃねえかよ。命を奪うならそれで十分事足りただろうがよ。なんだよこりゃ。わざわざ殺した後に椅子に座らせて腹裂いて菓子をわざわざ中に詰め込んだってのかよ。なんだってそんな悪趣味なことをしやがるんだよ。チキショウやってくれやがるぜ。最高だよ最高だよ。
皆さんは外へ出られた方がいい。こんな姿を皆さんに見せたいなどと彼らが思うわけがありません。
Nanjo told the children to go outside, but no one listened.
ローザさん皆さんに言ってください。こんなもの見続けてはどこになる。
Rosa regretted her own carelessness. She should have realized that the children would eventually come here. She should have quickly locked it up instead of standing around stunned. So the children had come here. They had seen it. Surely at this moment, they were having a sight burn into their eyes. That was far more grotesque than the shocking meal that Rosa had witnessed in her youth. While she hugged Maria, who seemed to be too shocked to show any emotion at this gruesome scene, Rosa cried for them and their parents. The four groaning and crying voices, their sadness, continued to echo in a place that should have known God's love.
クソ野郎がまたかよ。またこんな殺人を。しかも今度やたらと凝った最高にふざけた殺し方をしやがって。
わらわはそんな嘆きより感謝の言葉が聞きたかったぞ。
感謝と言ったがこのクソババア。てめえ耳がいかれてやがるってんなら俺が両の耳を引き裂いてよく聞こえるようにしてやるぜ。なんで俺がこの最高にいかれた殺し方にありがとうございますベアトリーチェ様なんて言わなければならねえんだ。ぶっ殺してやる。
前回のゲームでお前は自分の親の死に顔が見られないと嘆いたな。だから残したぞ。しっかり残した。よく拝んでおけ。間違いなく父親たちが殺されたことを。
そうかよ。そいつはサービス満点だぜ。気に入った。
感情に任せて思考を止めるな。すでにわらわのゲームは始まっておるのだぞ。わらわは今回は綺麗に死体を残すことに決めた。なぜだかわかるか。前回のゲームでそなたがわらわの存在を否定するときこう考えて否定したであろう。顔面が潰され遺体の身元が確認できない。だから身代わりの死体を用意してアリバイを作った可能性が否定できない。その可能性が排除できない限り人間犯人説は維持できる。
なんだと。
さあバトラ
南條に検視を任せてよいのか。ミステリーの古典では検視の医者がグルというのが伝統なのだろう。なら南條に検視を任せるな。そなたが自らするがよい。間違いなく6人の死体が当人で、死んだふりなどでなく本当に死んでいることを十分に確認するがいい。お前の父親が母親が腹を裂かれて臓物を引きずり出されて殺されていることを腹に手を入れてその手触りで確認するがいい。
泣かねえ。ちくしょうちくしょう、泣かねえぞ俺は。
Battler suddenly yelled. His tears were still dripping down, but as though scolding himself for being a sissy, he slapped his face several times with both hands. Even so, the tears still wouldn't stop. However, he felt a hot blaze in both his eyes.
これだけの上等を決めやがった野郎に借りはがっちり返させていただくぜ。なら泣く時じゃねえ、自分のすべきことを考えろ。ああ、ダメだぜ、全然ダメだ。涙を流す暇があったら考えろ。涙腺なんかひるませる時じゃねえ。
Rather than genuine anger, maybe it was more of an evasive anger to blot out his sadness. However, it gave a little courage to George and Jessica, who had been crushed by the sadness.
そうだね。僕たちが泣いても起こってしまった現実は変わらない。
じゃあどうすりゃいいんだ。私は父さんと母さんのために何をすればいいんだよ。
ローザ様、戻りました。
合田さん、警察はどうでしたか。対応の指示はいつ頃来られそうだと言っていましたか。
それが電話が故障のようでして、非常用の無線機も試してはみたのですが、その天候のせいでしょうか、こちらも通じず。
なんですって。じゃあ警察に連絡がつかないということなの。
あいつだ。あいつが電話線とかに細工して警察に電話ができないようにしたんだ。
When she heard the phones had broken down, Jessica immediately decided it was the work of that mysterious guest. Her eyes were bright right after so much crying, so they began to grow even redder with rage.
もう議論の余地なんかねえぜ。全てが分かってる。そうだと分かる。父さんと母さんを殺したのは誰だ。決まってるぜ、あいつだ。昨日来たとかいう魔女様に決まってる。襟首ひねり上げてやるぜ。チクショーチクショーチクショー。
ジェシカちゃん、お待ちなさい。合田さん、カノ君、行って。
はい。お嬢様、お待ちを。
Covering her uncontrollable sadness with anger, Jessica ran outside, torn apart by emotion. Thinking about it hastily, maybe the mystery guest who had arrived yesterday, Beatrice, was suspicious. However, in that instant, there was absolutely no proof that she was the culprit. At this moment, she was just another guest, no more, no less. So Rosa, making an adult decision, was forced to stop Jessica in her rash rampage. Gordon and Cannon picked up on this immediately and chased after her.
誰にも招かれなかった客人、ベアトリーチェが犯人なんだろうか。
ジェシカの気持ちもわかる。そう思い込みたい気持ちは。
俺誰でもいいから犯人ってことにして横っ面をぶっ飛ばしてやりたい気持ちがある。だがその前にはっきりと理解する必要がある。ベアトリーチェってのは何者なんだ。俺は顔すら見てねえぜ。
顔ならお屋敷に大きな肖像画で飾られてたよ。あれだけ見てまだ覚えられないのかな。
なんだよマリア、こんな状況で何がおかしいよ。
ベアトリーチェは魔女なんだよ。 そして黄金鏡の扉を開くための儀式がいよいよ始まったの。この6人はその生贄なんだよ。さあさあ始まるよ、魔女の宴が。今宵はハロウィン。魔女たちが今こそ祝い集う。
マリア、その気持ち悪い声で笑うのをやめなさいっていつも言ってるでしょ。
The crisp sound of Rosa slapping Maria's cheek echoed throughout the high-ceilinged chapel. Ever since it started raining yesterday, no, ever since the island was swallowed by the typhoon, I felt as though something was wrong. It was bright and sunny when I arrived in Rokujima, but since I'd gotten up early and was sleepy, I took a nap. When I woke up, it had already started raining, and ever since that time, suddenly a mysterious visitor calling himself the Golden Witch Beatrice arrived, and it felt like I was sinking bit by bit into a bizarre world. What the heck happened while I was napping? Am I supposed to believe this island was sealed off inside a different world, where common sense doesn't apply? Who is this person called Beatrice? Is some unknown person trying to involve themselves with the inheritance problem, just like our parents were freaking out about at dinner last night? Or is the culprit this witch from the Legend of the Gold, just like Maria said? Even if we set Jessica's temper aside, given the circumstances, it's probably safe to say this visitor person is the most suspicious. But we mustn't make up our minds based on that alone. Ah, it's useless, it's all useless! I smacked my face with both hands again, cooling off my brains before they get overloaded. Even though they've been wasted effort.
これはおじい様の封筒。
On the tray piled up with sweets that decorate the table, George Aniki found a western envelope that the Ushirame family crest had done in a gold leaf. And it was unopened.
ってことは、それは俺たち宛てってことじゃねえのか。親父たちが読んだものだったなら開封されてるはずだぜ。
その推理は正解のようだよ。書いてある。残されし者たちへって書いてあるよ。
それは犯人が残した手紙なの。中身は。
兄貴、開けようぜ。
After nodding silently, George Aniki broke the seal. A folded letter came out.
読むよ。六軒島へようこそ。後ろ宮家の皆様方。私は金蔵様にお仕えしております。当家顧問錬金術師のベアトリーチェと申します。
That letter really was a joke. This Beatrice, who called herself the family alchemist, had announced that she was collecting the gold that she lent grandfather along with interest. And that interest was everything grandfather had created. Since this tragedy was right before our eyes as this paragraph was being read aloud, it clearly was referring to the wealth that grandfather had built up. It was literal. Everything that grandfather had created. In other words, all of grandfather's descendants were included with the interest.
ふざけやがって。なんてめちゃくちゃな契約だ。黄金の利子は命だってのかよ。そんなのまるで悪魔の契約じゃねえかよ。それで魔女気取りってわけか。笑わせやがるぜ。
特別条項。ただし隠された契約の黄金を暴いた者が現れた時、ベアトリーチェはこの権利を全て永遠に放棄しなければならない。黄金の隠し場所についてはすでに金蔵様が私の肖像画の下に碑文にて公示されております。つまりこういうことだね。もしこの殺人が利子の回収行為だというなら、それを止める条件としておじい様に与えた隠し黄金を探し出してみろとこう言ってるんだよ。そしてその秘密は例の肖像画の碑文に隠されているとも言ってる。
つまりこいつは魔女様の挑戦状ってわけか。黄金の隠し場所を記した暗号文を解けるものなら解いてみろと。そしてそれができなきゃ 利子の回収をこの後も着々と進めていきますと、そう言ってぶっ殺してやる。上等だ。
バトラ君、これ。
The table was covered with sweets, so even though those things were right out in the open, we just assumed they were sweets too. I mean, come on, you see them a lot, right? You know, those boxes of chocolate shaped like old gold ingots?
こりゃお菓子の箱じゃねえぞ。本物だ。こりゃ本物の金塊だ。
片翼のわしの紋章が刻印されてる。前に母さんが話してたのを聞いた。これはおじい様の黄金伝説の金塊だよ。
Gold ingots weighing a full 10 kilograms, a whole 3 of them, were piled on the very center of this table. It was where a cake would be placed if it was a birthday party. In other words, this was without a doubt the birthday cake of the party known as the family conference.
これが本当に純度49のインゴットだったなら、6000万円くらいの価値はある。
バカ野郎、安すぎる。俺たちの親が6人も殺されて、そこに積まれた黄金がたったの6000万円だと。バカにするんじゃね
え。さあ始まったね、ベアトリーチェ。どうせこの謎は誰にも解けないよ。だから絶対にベアとの勝ち。早く黄金鏡への扉を開いて、そしてマリアを連れてって。